Well, hey there, friends, it's Kris from the Rate the Record podcast. And of course, you are here today because today's the day I take not one, not two, but 3 songs, brand new, and I review them, give you my opinion, and then maybe you'll have an opinion on them after you listen to them. The show. Episode. Something. By now you know the drill, you know what we do in the show, so let's just jump right into it before I waste too much more time, huh? So first up we have Scale and Feather, who is an instrumental post-rock band or artist, I think it's just a solo artist, I could be wrong, out of Tucson, Arizona. They've been steadily releasing new music on Bandcamp for the last year or two, and their latest album, appropriately titled Arizona, just dropped back on March 18th. And you didn't have to wait too long for this album either if you have been waiting for this one, because their previous full-length album, Age of Giants, came out back in September of 2021. The single that I'm checking out is the lead single on the Bandcamp page, and it's called Copper Bones. The song starts out in a fairly deranged way. You have these haunted voices kind of singing off in the distance with this also distant reverb, and it's matched with these strings that immediately give you some sort of sense of danger. The bass rhythm adds a menacing quality as well. It starts to get a little noisy at this point, you get your drum break, and then finally you get your post-rock / metal riffage. This track relies a lot on dark and noisy ambience, which does a lot to actually keep you on your toes. I like the way everything harmonizes with one another in a very unsettling manner. It's a good tension builder, and it really only leaves me wondering more about this album and how this song fits into the narrative, like before and after this particular track, because according to the Bandcamp page that this song was on and the album is on, which link is down in the description obviously, it does say that this whole album was inspired by the musician's time of living in Arizona. So my only real question from that is, what desert hell brought this to your hands? Don't get me wrong though, I do like this song and what it has to offer. It's not exactly mind-blowing, but at the same time I do dig it. My only real gripe with this track is probably the mixing and the production on it altogether, because it sounds like there was a lot of compression, like really heavy compression in certain parts, a lot of higher pitched sounds that maybe wince a lot. And of course there was some things buried in the track more than they should have been, and by things I mean, like, you know, part of the instrumentals and everything like that. Quieter, more distant than they should have been, probably a little more prevalent, would have worked. But still decent enough, as I said. I did enjoy it overall, just the production was a little iffy. Good thing to go on though, keep ahead of it. So up next on my singles review, we have Canadian indie darlings, the Arcade Fire, or just Arcade Fire. They're back! Kind of. At the point of writing and recording this review, I had actually just found out that longtime original frontman of Arcade Fire, Win Butler, has left the band shortly after this track debuted. This really gives me like Black Country New Road vibes, but that's a whole different band, whole different story, but still, just out of nowhere. So the track I'm looking at today is Lightning 1 and 2. Maybe you could say tracks, I guess, but it's really just one long track. We'll get into that when we get there. And it's on the upcoming album We, coming out on May 6th. So I guess this is the first preview of the last appearance we'll have of Win Butler with this band, so let's take a look. A much gentler start to this track. You have these really nice strings and piano and synths that kind of get everything started, and then it's matched by this really rich sounding 12-string acoustic guitar, which I thought was really nice. Obviously a much easier experience to get into than the previous track. A simple and smooth flowing chorus eventually comes in with this tame halftime drum beat, but I kind of like how everything fits. It's not meant to be too heavy, so I'm definitely cool with that. Plus I usually tend to like halftime beats anyways. I think they're pretty cool. Everything builds and builds for a little while in the song until it finally gets to the second portion, which I can only assume is the Lightning 2 portion. It melds wonderfully into an upbeat and energetic track. The pacing is great, and it carries these vibes like something you would have heard on their The Suburbs album back from 2010, which I really enjoyed that one too. Most people did. This portion rides on one particular wave all the way to the mostly abrupt ending, so there's not too much more to say about this part. It's a fun ride though. There's a lot to take in here with these two halves that make a whole. I do really like this one though. It was neat listening to things unfold over the combined 6-minute runtime. I'm definitely curious for the rest of the album, especially if it does have Suburbs vibes, but at the same time, I'm more so curious of how the band will choose to progress, if at all, without Win Butler. How do you replace somebody so noteworthy and recognizable in the band's image? Do you replace him at all? I guess only time will tell at this point. And for my final track of the week, I have Without Waves, and they are an experimental progressive metal band out of Chicago, Illinois. They just dropped their brand new album Comedian back on March 18th, and it's the band's first full-length studio album since Lunar, which was released back in March 2017. The track that I'm looking at today from the new album is called 7. So 5 years later, let's see what Without Waves has been up to. The track begins with these lightly crunched guitars strumming these chords that kind of build this dreamlike uncertainty, if that makes any sense at all. This leads to the first minute of the track until you finally get to this lonely guitar, very lonely guitar, like plucking 2-note chords all by itself, then eventually is met by these panning guitars or synthesizer, or that kind of reminds me of like twinkling starlight, if that's probably the best way I can describe it. Before too long, we have a chunky drum beat and a muddy bass riff just drive this verse. The vocals have a great tone to them, and the main melody for them is actually really catchy, so that gets bonus points too. The second verse changes up the vocal melody a little bit, but it also adds these really nice multi-layered harmonies to them, which does a lot for the song sonically. Into the later parts of the second half, it gets fun. A pickup in pace, then you have some very djent style guitars, and just the general all-around craziness in this particular part adds a lot of variety and excitement. The song ends on a very dreamy and airy section of strummed guitars and breathy vocals. And what this song has given me so far, it's given me a couple different things. I think this is pretty fitting, so I actually really enjoyed the ending. Really, it's just a good track overall. There's a great variety of sound and emotion to keep things really fresh and fun and exciting, and listen to it. And those are the 3 songs I have for you today, or 3.5 or 4, depending on how you look at that Arcade Fire one. But regardless, there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you had a chance to check out these tracks too. If you did, please let me know what you thought of them down in the comments below. I'm very curious to know what you think about these tracks, because I mean, my opinion's one thing, but I'm curious about yours. So again, comment down below, let me know. But you can also let us know on our socials at Rate the Record Podcast over on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Rate the Record on Twitter, or you can just email for whatever reason if you do want to email us, ratetherecord@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out Savannah's video as well. She also has her own 3 picks that she's doing this week. I'm pretty sure they're great tracks. I'm gonna have to check them out myself. You can do the same, so hop on over there and give them a listen. And don't forget to watch our podcast, the main podcast of Rate the Record Podcast, the channel. Imagine that we do a podcast. Every Monday a brand new episode comes out, and last Monday, or I guess yesterday at the point of this video coming out, episode 29, The Grapes of Wrath, it was a listener requested episode, our 3rd one that we've done so far. And it was actually a really entertaining episode. I think you should check it out. Definitely listen to the album too, and let us know what you think of that album. Don't worry, we got plenty of content for you to binge, so you can just stay here forever and watch all the content. Hey, and if you really like what we're doing, of course, hit like, subscribe, comment, rate, share, follow, all that kind of stuff. Fantastic. We really appreciate it. We really love it. Thank you very much. But if you want another way to support, don't forget we have a Ko-fi page now, kofi.com/ratetherecord. It's there on the screen, it's down in the description. It's a financial way to support us. Completely optional, content's still free, just if you want to. The option is there. We'll like you that much more though. Maybe. We got to incentivize you. So until next time, make sure you listen to these tracks, let me know what you think, go watch the previous podcast episode, and I will see you next time. Take care, friends.